Thank you so much for joining us today for this session with a guest who needs very little introduction. She's a beach volleyball icon, 5-time Olympian, 3 gold medals, 1 bronze, mother of 3, entrepreneur, a hugely positive force of nature, Kerri Walsh Jennings. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm very excited to have Kerri here to talk to us. We'll talk about the lessons she's learned throughout her life and career and how she's bringing that now to a brand new venture, how she focuses and manages her time mindfully, and how she's working to share that gold medal philosophy with others so that the rest of us mortals and non-Olympians can also learn to go above and beyond in our own lives.
Love it.
I want to start off. You have a birthday tomorrow.
I do.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm turning 40.
It's a big one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Yeah? Feeling okay about the whole
I am.
milestone birthday thing?
Am I too loud? The mic? No?
I think we're
Okay,
good.
good.
Yeah.
I'm better when it's soft. No, I feel really good about 40. You know, my career is in a really fun place. My kids and my husband are amazing. They drive me nutty, but they're the joys of my life, and life feels really good. And I'm on an upward swing, which is nice.
Yeah, you've definitely got a lot going on right now. I wanted to start by talking about P1440, your multi-hyphenate new venture.
Yeah.
It's part volleyball league, part music festival, part wellness expo, part digital media platform, but I know I'm not really doing it justice, so I just wanted to ask you how you would describe it and what motivated you to make this bold move.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm in this with P1440 to save the sport of beach volleyball and professional beach volleyball. Our sport is so ginormous, it's globally adopted. We're the #1 sport for girls 8 to 18. We're an NCAA collegiate national championship sport. We're the #1 sport at the Olympics every year, volleyball and indoor. And yet, between Olympic Games, we're largely irrelevant because all of the best in the world are only chasing gold medals, which happens once every 4 years. The current situation with our sport professionally is that it's a hobby. The professionals, the #1 player in the country last year made $38,000. The #1 player, we play to train, we pay to travel, we pay for a hotel, everything we pay for. So we're really losing money, we're paying to work. And so my goal in life is to leave the sport way better than when I came in almost 20 years ago. And so at P1440, we know that we can't just be another volleyball-only, sport-only property. You know, NBA, MLB, there's so many amazing, things out there that we need to separate ourselves. And so what we want to do is bring in elements of what do the athletes do to live optimal, amazing lives? The things I do on a daily basis. Health and wellness is a huge part of what I do. Mindfulness training, living in the moment, personal development, all these fitness experiences. I do different things every single week depending on where I'm at in my career, in my season, preseason, in-season, postseason. And then live entertainment. So we want to bring all these added elements to get net new eyeballs to the game. So someone maybe they don't like that I play in a bikini and play beach volleyball, but they love health and wellness. So we're going to have experts on hand where they can be immersed with these other elements. And the bigger side of us is a technology platform. So we'll have 8 events a year, and there'll be festivals in nature. Our music lineup, our first event is in San Jose. We have Group Love, we have Dia, we have Marion Hill, we have Foster the People. So we're really trying to hit on all the 4 pillars of entertainment, health and wellness, personal development, and best in class with sport. But our technology platform is where we'll scale, where we'll stay relevant every single day, 365, 24/7. And we want to be global. We want to create a global community. There are only 1,440 minutes in a day. That's all you get every single day. And everyone complains about being overburdened. We don't have enough time to live our lives, in the moment. And so with P1440, we really want to inspire people to be in the moment because that's the only source of power we have. It's not 5 minutes ago. It's not 10 minutes from now. It's right now. So live mindfully and with purpose. So that's P1440 in a nutshell.
Great. Is there a risk in starting it so big and so broad? I mean, when you scale a startup, we've just been talking about that. Yeah. Some prefer to start with one thing, like say just the volleyball league, and then as it gained in popularity, or you see how it's going, maybe expand to music and wellness and these other things. Yeah. What was sort of the idea? What was the instinct behind doing all of these things all at once, and does that present a risk?
I mean, it's really expensive. The event side of us is a sexy side of us, but it's very finite, and it's very expensive. But we are in this to go big or go home. There's so many amazing properties out there that we can't just come out little. You have to shake the world. In our sport, there's so many amazing, powerful, cooperative components that are kicking ass in our sport. And so we're just trying to aggregate that to unify the sport. And again, we need to be seen and heard. And if we come out little by little, we're going to get washed away by other properties. You know, if you look at the NFL or the Olympics or MLB, like they're bringing in other experiential elements to the sport because they want to get the younger demographic, you know, who are gamers and who are in their technology. And so what we want to create is, you know, amazing, powerful experiences that people are just going to talk, and word of mouth is going to spread. And ultimately, we're so connected, but we're so disconnected. And so the goal with coming out in a global scale and bringing the other elements, we don't have an elevator pitch, and it's very expensive, and yet it's timely. Everything is relevant to every single gender, age, demographic. And so it's just a choice we made to just go big and to do it right, you know.
Great. Another question I have about this is why now? Like I said, you have a lot going on. You're probably really getting rolling on your training for your 6th Olympic Games, 2020 in Tokyo. I think you're still deciding on a partner for that. I know you train year-round, but as you get closer, that's obviously going to demand more and more of your focus and your attention. Why now for Peak 1440 and this when this is going to, your attention is going to kind of be divided, and you, like, why not do it, say, after you retire in 2020?
Because the time is now. It's now. Our sport is slowly dying on the professional level. Team USA, because of all of the Americans making such little money on the domestic tour right now, it's like mush sharpening mush. It's not iron sharpening iron because everyone has 2 and 3 jobs to fund their hobby of professional beach volleyball. And I cannot let the sport that I love, that has given me so much, to die. And so the time is now. Every brand we talk to, they're like, this is very timely. Not only with the sport, because your sport is incredible and powerful, but with the health and wellness initiatives and the mindfulness movement. Like, this is evergreen, and the time is now. And again, I have this platform as I chase my 6th Olympics. You know, I won a bronze. My partner and I won bronze in Rio, and it really pisses me off. And it's just driving me crazy. And so I want to leave the game on top, and I want to leave the game itself on top as well. So I feel like the time is now because I have this platform. I'm not afraid to use my voice anymore. You know, I have, you know, definite things to say, and I believe so much, so passionately in our sport because it's changed my life. And I see the power of sport changing, you know, young girls, young boys, and it creates this community that's so powerful.
So you just want to create a broader opportunity for athletes in your sport.
Absolutely. And I lived a lot of contrast that kind of pushed me into this. You know, when you're kind of going through hell, it's either you're going to stay in hell and complain, or you're going to choose to do something about it. And I was on the domestic tour for 20 years almost, and I just saw the way the sport was going, and it wasn't going like this. It's going like flatline and down a little bit. And so it's just like, if I'm going to complain about something for so long, it's going to be either put up or shut up. And I'm putting up with all my heart.
Let's talk a little bit about breaking away from that establishment, the tour that you played on for 20 years of your life, most of your professional career. It must have been very difficult to do that. I'm sure you expected there to be many challenges. Has there been a lot of pushback? Have you felt a lot of, I mean, you basically started a competing tour to the AVP. How have you managed that? I mean, that must have been, I mean, you're not someone who shies away from bold moves, but that seems like a sort of a fundamental decision that you had to make at some point. I'm going to do this, I'm going to break out on my own, and there must have been some pushback.
For sure. You know, well, what led me and my husband to start this is just that our sport was just, they're crushing it, and the athletes are suffering. And so it's like, someone, you got to raise your hand, and you try to be diplomatic, and you try to have these conversations, let's be collaborative, let's do this together. But when the door just keeps getting shut in your face and you're being bullied, and they're using these tactics which crush the soul and spirit of the athlete, and therefore the sport, it's like you have to make a decision. What do you stand for? And so it was a very easy decision to say, okay, I cannot support this, because if I support this, then I'm condoning it. And I can't allow this to stand. I believe in them, God bless them. I don't want to squash them, but there is room at the top for better and bigger. And so the decision was easy. The pushback is been really challenging because the athletes, it's almost like, I've said this before, it's a little bit dramatic, but it's almost like the abuser-abusee relationship, where the abusee is like justifying and rationalizing why they deserve to be, punished and beaten and kept small. That's what
the abusers are the people who are still
the powers, in charge right now. And it is dramatic and it's not a fair comparison, but you get my gist. Yeah. And so the athletes, we're making them very uncomfortable because ultimately they're going to have to make a choice. I'm a free market, small government girl. I just want to make it great property and have the athletes decide and the brands decide. I do not want the AVP to go away. That would hurt the sport. We want to create net new opportunities. So the pushback, being told that we're, being self-serving, this is all for self-promotion, this is the most selfish thing you're doing, you're dividing the sport, that's been really hard because it's kind of like a character assassination. The intention is so pure. Selfishly, I want to kick ass and I want to create these tours, these events where I can go make a lot of prize money. That's the selfish part of it. But selflessly, I want to leave a legacy for my children and for these generations of athletes who are starting to get trained at 8 years old for beach volleyball. The fact that we're an NCAA sport, young women are actually getting college scholarships for beach volleyball, that makes what we're doing at P1440 relevant forever. So we want to have these girls who are so well trained, who are kicking ass, who will be the next gold medalist, silver medalist, whatever, representing Team USA. We want to give them a home, like the NBA, like the MLB, where their league sustains them. The Olympics are just the cherry on top. Right now, the Olympics are everything to us, and it's keeping us very, very small.
Great. I'm sure most of us in this room can relate to the multiple demands on our time, multiple commitments. How do you allocate your personal resources, not just the physical demands, which are tremendous, I know, but the mental, the emotional, how do you make those allocations of your 40 minutes every day? And do you have to constantly adjust that? Talk a little bit about how you manage that.
I'm glad my husband's not here because he'd call me a hypocrite. So I'm really not great at this. I have 1440 on my necklace, he wears it. It's the filter through which I try to do everything. I want it all in life, but I want it all, in my life, it's my faith, it's my family, it's my career. And those are three very profound things, but life is very simple. And so when I'm feeling kind of weird and off base, or if my husband and I are feeling disconnected, I kind of go back to those buckets and be like, what am I not servicing right now? But my priorities in life are very, very clear. I know what I want, and I'm willing to do what it takes to get it. I've lived a life where, in chasing one of our gold medals, I lost connection to my husband, to all the dearest, nearest and dearest around me. I just took for granted they knew how much I loved them, how much I was in it with them. But I didn't show it, and I wasn't present in my 1440 to give that. And I almost lost my marriage. I'm having my first baby, we're chasing this dream, just won a gold medal. My life is falling apart, and my husband's like, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna peace out. And I'm like, what? What's happening? You can't leave me right now. And so I've lived it in a way where I've lost my priorities. I'm chasing big goals. I've achieved this amazing accomplishment in my career, and yet I lost perspective on life. And so moving forward, and since then, that rock bottom really has serviced me so well in my life because I will never go back to that place, ever. And so my husband and I are actually in a fight right now, but we work really hard to stay connected. I have, my performance psychologist helps me kind of unload my baggage and just really get to the heart of the matter. And, if you're in the moment and if you're living authentically and just kind of cutting out the BS of your life, it's just, you see things so clearly. And with the fully loaded plate that I have right now and all the drama and people thinking that we're a-holes and disrupting, I'm really trying to be an observer. Because if you're up here and looking at the whole landscape, it's so much easier to make mindful decisions and to respond and not just to react. And so I'm a pretty, back me in a corner, I'm gonna, defend myself. But when I can be up here and observe, it's a really powerful place to be. So I feel like that's kind of one of my tactics, to A, take a deep breath so I can respond, and then B, to be an observer of the situation instead of just a reactor.
Great. What has been, in starting up P1440, I'm sure you expected there to be many challenges.
I didn't. I thought it was just going to be smooth sailing. Way harder than I thought.
What is a new lesson that you've learned from this experience of starting up a business that you hadn't previously, it hadn't been an aha moment in your entire career as an athlete or anything else? Is there a new lesson that you've taken from this?
Man, sports have taught me everything, to be honest with you. And I learned the hard way a lot. I'm a little bit dense. Sometimes I got to just keep doing the same mistake over and over. Something that has been reaffirmed to me in the world of entrepreneurship and creating a business is that relationships are everything. Like, you have to have a depth of relationship and a depth of connection in order to build a big, beautiful dream. I have that within the teams that I'm chasing Olympic medals with. I have that within my family. You have to have a real connection. And, you know, we have these outside sales agencies who are trying to sell sponsorships for 1440. And I got on the phone with one the other day, and they have no idea who I am and what this brand is about. They don't know the heart of us. And it's like, what the hell? So it's like taking the time to, you know, create that connection and to have that synergy, because it's so powerful. You know, there's this quote that I really love. People always say there's strength in numbers, and sure there is. But the real strength comes from alignment. And so everything that we do at 1440, everything that I do in my life, I really want to have genuine, authentic alignment, because that's where you're going to kick ass. You know, when things get tough, if you're aligned, if you're all looking in the same direction, wanting to go in the same place, you're going to get there despite the ups and downs and the challenges. But no, man, I have lived in a bubble my whole life. I'm a very blessed girl, and think my path has been paved. And so the disruptions and the heartache of being an entrepreneur now, like, as an athlete, you live and die by your own output, you know, but now I have to wait on people. You know, it's like they're helping me create this dream, but they don't care as much. So that's been the hard part.
You're learning what the rest of us have always
known. I'm preaching to the choir, but it's worth it. You know, like, I can suffer any challenge. I'm good at handling suffering if I believe in my purpose. And I believe in my purpose in P1440 with all my heart. And I believe our sport and the world deserves it. I mean, ultimately, this is a movement in, you know, like, autonomy and an optimization. And it's centered around sport, because sport is such a beautiful, ideally pure thing. But there's so much more, you know, nuance to it.
So with P1440 and in this sort of business sponsorship world, you know, you'll get sponsorships, you'll have a lot of people come to the events, but there are no medals, like, there won't be as clear of a measure for victory. How will you measure success for P1440, especially in the early days? Yeah,
well, right now we want to pay our bills with perfectly aligned brand partnerships. You know, we want to raise capital down the road a little bit, but right now we're looking for the brands who see our movement, see our purpose, and they're like, you're kick-ass. We love your sport, but it's not even that. It's like, we believe what you stand for. So the brands are very important for us. That's going to be a big way that we obviously pay the bills. We're also, a larger part, again, is our technology platform. So ultimately, we will be a membership base, $6 a month, $72 a year. You know, come and learn from our experts 365, 24/7. We're going to be heavily, you know, streaming everything. We're going to be very big and strong on content, long form and short form. So the membership model hopefully will allow us to have consistent revenue. We're going to ticket, you know, at the gates, but that's not going to move the needle that much. But brand partnerships and our membership platform is kind of going to be where we're at.
What's been the consumer side response so far to the events? I know tickets went on sale last week or the week before for the inaugural event, which is just down the road in San Jose next month.
Yes, Avaya Stadium grounds. If you guys are in town, you're all cordially invited. It's been great. You know, people are really, really excited. I think our music lineup is really impressive, and people will show up for that. And we're having the best in the world. So something that we're doing in our sport, largely in beach volleyball, it's only like country versus country, like the Olympics, USA versus Brazil versus Germany. Or it's USA versus USA only. And so what we're doing is we're taking off those shackles, and just the best in the world can play. Like, I can play with a Brazilian can play with a German. And in our sport, that's something very unique. You know, we've always had these little boxes that we fit in. And so, again, we're inspired by the NBA and the NFL. It doesn't matter what country you're from, just come and compete and iron sharpen iron and go and kick ass. So we're going to elevate the stakes. We have great prize money. You know, we have a great partner with ABC and ESPN for our events, which is really exciting. And then our digital streaming will be, you know, we want to be where the people are. So, the reception has been great, and we're hoping for, I think, 15 to 20 paid every single weekend. We're 3-day events, and it's going to be rad. Yeah. So tell people, bring a friend. Come on out.
I want to talk a little bit about wellness, the wellness piece of this. You're an athlete, so that is very firmly in your wheelhouse. And you've talked a lot about how meditation has helped you and how you stay mindful. But wellness has become a very loaded term lately. There's a lot of celebrities kind of hopping on the bandwagon. There's a sense that there's a lot of snake oil in the industry. What does wellness mean to you in terms of how you bring that to a broader audience?
Well, so wellness in a nutshell to me is just mindfulness, mindful living. So making, choices that are going to support me to live my optimal life and living in the present moment. The one way consistently I know how to come back into the present moment is to breathe. And it sounds so cheesy and it sounds so hokey. Who meditates in here? Anybody? The athletes? Do you notice a difference on the days that you meditate and you don't? Like, it's powerful, ancient stuff. So 1440, we want to be the merger of like ancient, processes and then leading edge. But to live a mindful life is just like, what are you surrounding yourself by, whether it's in social media, whether it's nutrition, whether it's the books you're reading, everything you're taking in has an impact on your psyche, on your ability to make these decisions, on your microbiome, your tummy. And so ultimately it's just like, I want to be mindful, I want to be in the present moment, and I want to surround myself by that which is going to empower me and help me to achieve my optimal life. And we want to inspire people to do that. Everyone's an expert. There's so much knowledge out there, so much information. And for me, I really appreciate going to a trusted resource and being like, where should I go here in this nutritional space? Like, who is the person I should be listening to right now? And that's what P1440 will be.
So that's an example of something that you would find in the wellness
100%.
tent.
Yes. Yeah, so guided meditations, nutrition. We're going to have cooking demos, from one of my favorite chefs who helped me prepare, for my journey, to the Olympics. We're going to have yoga. It's body, mind, and spirit, basically. Because if you're only training your body, you're going to be lacking emotionally and mentally to be in the moment. If you're only training your mind, you're going to be soft physically. And so I believe the power that I have is harnessed when I'm hitting all those three buckets. And so we'll have immersions and activations, guest speakers to come and to kind of help service our community. We're going to have Tom Bilyeu. Have you guys heard of him? Impact Theory? He has an amazing podcast. He's had some of the best, biggest game changers in the world across so many different arenas. And we're going to have him host a live podcast on site. And he's all about mindset and the power of the mind. And again, fueling yourself for optimization. It's pretty cool.
Great. Well, I wanted to leave at least a few minutes for questions. Does anyone in the audience, I think we have a microphone available. Does anyone in the audience have questions for Kerri? She said to ask her anything when we talked earlier, so don't be shy. Anyone?
I might take that statement back.
I have, if there isn't anything, I do have another question. I grew up in Southern California. I went to college down there too. Beach volleyball is very natural down there. It's something you kind of grow up watching, non-professional, but it's sort of part of the DNA down there. Do you have a real sense that there's an appetite for more of that in Chicago or
100%.
Toronto or some places that might be a little less obvious?
100%. So yeah, I think you think of beach volleyball and you think it's just coastal, and it's not. It's global. But there's 25 to 40 million in the U.S. that play, 800 to 900 million globally. That is a widely adopted sport. It is not niche. It feels niche maybe in some places, but you have universities now building sand volleyball facilities. I just got back from Switzerland, this town called Stade. We're playing at the base of the Alps. I've played at, Eiffel Towers here, and I've played right here in this major Grand Slam tournament. So one of the most amazing things about our sport is that it's globally adopted. We have men and women equality. It's very inclusive, which is very powerful. And we can go everywhere. The athletes are so accessible. You show up literally and here's center court or a side court and you can sit right here. You get to hear the dialogue. You can get sweat on. It's a little bit too close for comfort as far as I'm concerned sometimes. Sometimes I'm in my timeout box and someone comes up and says, Kerri, can I get your autograph? And I'm like, I'm literally working. I'm trying to win right now. Can we do this later? And they're like, whatever, but it's so interesting. So our sport is incredible, and the demand it's global, and it's certainly national. One of my favorite places to play in the U.S. is Chicago. They have a very, very big beach volleyball following, but we're everywhere. It makes me very, very proud. I've been playing the sport since 2001. I graduated from Stanford University, transitioned to beach. And the lifestyle of the sport is so beautiful, and that's why the athletes are so worth suffering. They're willing to sleep on couches and to sleep at their parents' house till they're 32, to fund this beautiful lifestyle. But the time has come to change it, and I think there's a lot of components in the marketplace that will support our initiatives. Yes, Paul.
Yes. So the SFIA reported that soccer participation was down over 500,000 participants.
I'm going to give you a microphone.
Sure. Is that better? So the SFIA, which was formerly the Sporting Goods Manufacturing Association, they reported that soccer participation was down a little bit over 500,000 youth participants. And Hope Solo said, among a number of other folks that are thought leaders in soccer, that it's because of the proliferation of privatized club soccer programs. And it's actually become more exclusive and expensive to play soccer. Lacrosse has a similar problem or challenge, as we haven't dipped necessarily in participation. So the question I have for you is, what is youth volleyball like currently, and is there going to be an integration component or maybe instruction to P1440?
Of course. No, the grassroots movement right now is very powerful within our sport. It's basically funding the higher levels in indoor volleyball and beach volleyball. The sport is growing like gangbusters. The beautiful thing with beach volleyball is that you don't need that much. You need a ball, and hopefully you have access to a court somewhere. Same thing with indoor. But club volleyball is very, very expensive as well. And we're partnering with regional promoters and tournaments and tours so that we can incorporate them under our umbrella, so we have brand awareness and we're servicing those communities as well. It takes a little love for them to thrive, and it unifies the sport, which our sport is so fractured. So we definitely want to give more opportunity for these athletes to play and to get engaged with the sport. I talk to a lot of inner city schools and athletes, and it's like they have no idea what volleyball is about. They think it's a rich, kind of white person sport, and it's like there's so much opportunity in the sport, and we want to give it to you guys. Like, if you love sport, come and get introduced to it, and it can take you places. And again, sport is so powerful, as you know, in shaping a human being. So it's really, really exciting time. But I think the larger thing, aside from the financial kind of woes within youth sports, it's just I talk to so many parents whose kids are literally 10 to 12, and they're chasing that college scholarship starting at 10 years old. And everyone, again, the 365, the specialization, I feel like these conversations need to happen in tandem, because kids are broken in spirit, they're broken in body and mind, because there's so much damn anxiety, because it's like what I'm doing as a 10-year-old in 5th grade is going to either make me or break me down when I'm trying to go for a college scholarship, and that's just wrong. I think the play has left sports. And that's why people are leaving. I think the money issues, it's kind of a money grab for these athletes, and there's no advocate for the athletes. They're getting broken just because people want to, take the money. So there has to be a way of, get a coalition of athletes to come and coaches talk about the importance of diversity in sport and playing multiple sports, because that's where you become a badass. It's not specializing in passing or, whatever it is. So, but yeah, it's a real issue, and we're certainly seeing it in volleyball.
Okay, I think we have time for one more, so go ahead.
Obviously, as an entrepreneur, when you start something, you always get asked, are you trying to sell it or grow it massive? And obviously, if you want to go back into the Olympics, it's not going to be easy to run this as well as start training for the Olympics again. So is the idea to kind of make it something really impactful and then ideally sell it to Red Bull Media House or something? Or have you thought that far along?
I'm going to sidestep a little bit. The best way I can be an advocate for what we're building is to win. To win and to focus on kicking ass and being a competitor and being the best, most beautiful mouthpiece I can for this initiative that we're building. I'm in it for the long haul. I want to be part of it. I want to be part of the sport for my entire life. We have, my husband and I are partners. They're our money partners, and they're funding this. And again, we want to help, bring the brands on board and have a membership model to subsidize everything. But ultimately, I want to stay involved. And it's, in a couple of years, I think we can have that conversation, and ultimately it's probably where it's going to need to go, because we want it to be big and bold and be enduring, and, we won't have that capacity, but I hope to be on board for a long time.
I'm sorry to say that we have to wrap it up. We could talk about this forever, I'm sure. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your inspirational words. I'm sure we all can have learned some lessons here ourselves. Thank you.